Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our research webinar series where I share with you my experiences in research, theses, and publication. I am teacher Dan Ragayan, and I'll be talking about sources of research literature in this video. Well, most of you already are familiar with different sources of literature which you can actually include in writing your review of related literature or review of literature. For those who are still struggling, I think this video is really for you. So when we talk about sources of research literature, there are a lot of things that we have to consider. So in this video, we'll be discussing about the different sources of research literature, what are the different online resources or useful websites that we can use in order to obtain some of this research literature. And I'll be sharing with you some journal websites where you can actually download research articles to be cited in your research papers. So for the sources of research literature, we have a myriad of sources that we can actually use in our scholarly papers or research papers. Primarily, we could actually use the books, printed or online books. We could cite them as our sources. Newspapers, printed or online, can also be cited in our research literature and can be used as a research literature and can be cited in our paper. In the Philippines, there are a lot of newspapers, online and printed, that we could actually use to for research citation. We have Philippine Star, Philippine Daily Inquirer, Manila Bulletin, among others. And of course, most common that we cite in our papers are journal articles, which can actually be downloaded in different online databases and even in the different journal websites. Speech and letter can also be cited and can be part of our research literature. Speeches of the president, speeches of government official, and some other prominent people. Letter can also be cited, as I mentioned, which can be considered as a primary source. Even your personal communication through your interview can actually be cited in your research papers. Theses and dissertations are also citable and can be part of our research literature and research paper. Make sure that these particular sources are available, can be downloaded in digital libraries or digital common, or even can be found in your libraries, printed thesis and dissertation. Some are already published and some are still to be published. So you will ask your professor or advisor if you can actually cite unpublished materials, unpublished thesis or dissertation. And also encyclopedia and almanac can be part of our research literature, which we can cite and we can include in our scholarly papers. But the question is, where can we actually find these particular resources, which can what particular websites can we actually visit to look for and to obtain some of literature sources that we can use for our papers. So let's talk about them. So first online resource here is of course the Google Scholar, which is considered to be one of the largest repository of journal papers or journal articles. So it can be found in scholar.google.com.ph if you are in the Philippines. So for this though, let's try to see the website, now the Google Scholar website. So for this, we can actually go to the uh, we can actually go to your Google. For example, we are in a Google, no? And you're gonna search Google Scholar in our search engine, and there you go. So it says here Google Scholar. So Google Scholars looks like this. It's a search engine of journal and scholarly papers. Say, for example, you're researching about science education in the Philippines. So we're going to see some related literature on science education in the Philippines. And then in a quick of a second, ayan, sobrang dami ng lumabas dito. So we have actually 1.4 million uh, documents that we can actually use in our research paper. However, of course, we have to limit to limit our search. So pag sinabi, for example, if your professor wants you to just cite papers 5 years back, for example, from 2016 to 2020 only, you can actually click here since 2016. So all the papers that you will be getting are papers published from 2016 to 2020. But you could also customize that. For example, your professor wants you just cite only from 2014 to 2020. Fine. Okay, you will be citing from 2014 to 2020. And this is sorted by date. No? For example, you want the newest from newest to oldest, you can actually sort by date. So this particular paper, for example, is published 25 days ago, and then you can actually find some papers published years back. Okay. You could also sort them by relevance, for example. So these are the most relevant papers in your search, no, for example. So let's see, no? For example, this particular article, is it available? Yes, because it has PDF in here. So you can just right click that, okay? And then you can actually download this one. So you can download here, for example, and then you can create your virtual folder. For example, your virtual folder would be research literature, okay? Then you create a folder. Okay, I have a research literature folder. So let's say research literature 2, for example. Then, uh, in my case, I usually write the uh, last surname or last name of the author and then the year published. So, for example, this one, we have Do It, okay, published in 1984, for example. This is republished, that's why. So 1984, I'm gonna save that. Okay, so let's go back here. Uh, anytime kasi nilagay natin 1984, no? So let's see, since 2016, so we can find other papers, no, from 2016 here. Now, as you can see, some of the articles don't have like PDF or doc file here. So we can still look for it. For example, we can click that. Okay. So this is actually with payment, no, by ebook or by chapter. So for a certain cost. So this is not open access compared to those with PDF or doc file at the right portion of the article title. But then again, if you have subscribed, for example, your school have subscription, for example, for Springer Link, now just ask your librarians or your professor if they have subscription, because you can actually download these articles if you have subscription in your particular colleges or schools. So, but if you don't have access, for example, you can just um, get the abstract of the article and probably can get something from the abstract which you can cite in your paper. So let's go back to the Google Scholar. What else can we actually see here? So you can actually see other related searches. For example, knowledge and science education analysis. You can actually click on this so that you can expand your research search your research literature search, no, in that particular study. So if, for example, you want to um, limit really the search in a certain variable, for example, you need to put like a quotation mark. So for example, you just want to know more about K to 12 science education. So put a open and close quotation so that it will be limited to these particular term only. No? So K to 12 science education. So you can see K to 12 science education, K to 12 science education. So these can actually be more specific. No? But if you don't put open and close quotation, there will be a lot of papers talking about K to 12 science education. That's 35,600 results. Whereas if you put close and open and close quotation marks, you will just have 125 results. So these are some of the tips which I can give you, know, in order for you to refine or filter your literature search in Google Scholar. So apart from Google Scholar, you can also go to ERIC. So this is educational research institute, no? Educational research institute, Institute of Education Sciences. We're in eric.gov.ed.gov. You can actually visit this, and this particular website will actually give you documents or research articles which are related to education only. So anything about education, you cannot um, find anything about engineering, pure engineering, um, pure sciences. No, but anything that is related to education, you can actually go to ERIC. So let's try to go to ERIC. So let's go back to Google and then type ERIC. Okay. And then you can see ERIC Education Resources Information Center. Okay. So that is ERIC pala, no? Education Resources Information Center. So we'll click that, and then it will lead you to a search engine again. So collection, then thesaurus, no, for thesaurus descriptors, but we go to collection. So for example, your study is about, for example, it's more about um, MTBMLE, for example, MTBMLE Philippines, or the mother tongue based multilingual education. So what can we do about that, no? What are the related paper about this? So we can actually we found actually 10 results about this. So these are the papers related to MPBMLE. So you can see direct link. If that's direct link, you can go to direct link of this particular article. So let's try. Okay. So to continue, click, okay, we'll just click the website, and then it will lead you to this particular article. And then again, you can just download it. Lopez et al. What year is this? So you can check that later on. For example, this is 2010. Okay. Just download from 2010. But I think this is, yeah, 2019. Yeah, you can check that details here, details of the article here. There are also with download PDF, download full text. So this is already a PDF format. So just download that. Okay, there you go. Okay, so that's another article. So that is 2018, no? Alieto 2018. So you can just type Alieto 20. Okay. So, but some of researchers actually wanted to put the title in the article file name. It's up to them, or keywords, it's up to them. But for my experience, I actually put authors and year so that it will be easier for me to sort them out later on. Okay, so that's for Eric. Once again, you could also filter the your results you want since 2019 only, no? So it will actually give you articles which are published in 2019 only, for the last 5 years, or for the last 10 years. So you can actually do that. Okay, you can uh, cross out later on your your filter, so that you can go back, like for example, since last 10 years. Okay, so okay, and or since last 20 years. Okay, you can do that. Okay, so let's go back to Google again. Now, apart from Google Scholar and Airy, you can also visit other websites, but these particular websites require you to register. So one tip to remember is that you have to have an active email so that you can register an account in this particular online site. So make sure that you have an active email, preferably a Gmail account, since this is one of the most common email that we are using. But if you have Yahoo.com, that Yahoo Mail, that's not a problem. But I mean, my preference is that you have to have your Gmail account. So one, for example, one online resource which you can visit is the Academia.edu, which sometimes require you to sign in or to log in, so that you can actually maximize your experience in navigating some of the resources in the Academia.edu, and that can be found in Academia.edu, or you can actually search Academia.edu in the search bar. Okay, Academia.edu, and then it will actually lead us to Academia.edu. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Okay, I actually uh I actually logged in my account here, so you can see, yeah, my face here right here. But anyway, for example, we want to learn more about language anxiety, Filipinos. Okay. Language anxiety Filipinos. You can just search the variable in the search bar. Okay. Then may mga ganyan silang subscription issues. So we just cross that out. Okay. And then there are papers here, no, suggested papers where you can actually download. No? So for example, download natin to, Politico-economic influence, social outcome of English language among Filipinos and autoethnography. So you can download that. And then upgrade, no thanks. So I always choose no thanks. I don't want the 38. And then you can actually leave a message to the author, but if you don't, okay, you can skip, and then ito na siya, na-download na dito. So, tingnan natin siya. So, this is the article already. You can, dahil na-download na siya, you can just go to your download folder and, transfer it to your virtual research literature folder. So, that's how, okay, how academia.edu, no? And there are a lot of, publication type. If you're just looking for journal article, okay, just click journal article. If book, conference paper, and others. And of course, if you have, for example, language preference, you can actually put some here, no, English only. So it will actually give you English papers, okay? But some will actually ask for a subscription, so that's not a problem. Just go to the normal or the free version. But if you want to have a premium account, you can actually sign up. Okay, so apart from academia.edu, what else, what online resource can we actually use? We can use ResearchGate. And again, ResearchGate will actually require you to sign in to have a maximum experience of the site. But there are open access articles which are uploaded in ResearchGate that does not require you to sign in. But again, if you will sign in for your ResearchGate account, make sure that you will be using your institutional email. Your institutional email are those emails with .edu.ph in the domain, as a domain of the email. So let's look at the ResearchGate here. Okay. So for example, okay, let's just okay, sorry. Let's try to delete some of the okay bar here. So let's, for example, are going to search ResearchGate in the search engine, and it will lead you to this one, ResearchGate. Okay. So you can actually search for publications. No, if you want to, I actually logged in my account. So for example, you want to search COVID-19 and education. So the impact, for example, of COVID-19 education. Then you go not in the research, but you go to the publication since you are looking for literatures, research literature, and then there are a lot of papers that you can download. No? So you can also request full text. For example, the full text is not available. You can actually request full text and message directly the researcher who uploaded or who wrote that particular article. But most of the articles in ResearchGate are actually downloadable. Say for example, this one, yeah, we can actually use this particular article as part of our research literature. So that is for ResearchGate. Again, say for example, we don't have an account yet. So let's see if we can actually find some research literature without actually logging in, or without actually registering in. So let's go to ResearchGate, and then search publication. There you go. So you can actually search publication. COVID-19 Philippines, for example. Yeah, then please wait. Yeah, there are publications. So again, you can just click the publication title, the article title, and just download the full text or read full text. So again, I'm not signed in, but yet I can still uh, download or read some of this literature. But again, if you have institutional email, better to have your ResearchGate registered so that you can actually have a you know you can actually enjoy the benefit of the ResearchGate. Okay, so apart from ResearchGate, we also have ScienceDirect. Most of you are already familiar with ScienceDirect, and that is can be found in this link, ScienceDirect.com. Okay, so let's try to see ScienceDirect.com. Okay, so ScienceDirect. There you go, ScienceDirect.com. Okay, so ito siya. You can actually sign in. You can actually create an account, register an account. So in this case, I actually logged in my account. Say for example, you have keywords, and for example, your keyword is disaster awareness, and you don't have particular author or journal to look at. So you just put the variable or the entry word or the key term, keyword, and then just click the search button there. And then there you go. There are a lot of articles talking about or discussing or related to disaster awareness. So you can actually refine your research again. So for example, only from 2014, okay, okay, 2015, 2016. Yeah, you can actually do that. You can also, you know, refine it by the article type. So review article, research article, encyclopedia, book chapter, etc. Or by subject area. So you can do that. Like for example, disaster awareness in social sciences, in medicine and dentistry, and environmental science, etc. Oh, there are also open access and open archive. For open access, these are readily downloadable. No? So you can just download it. So let's try. Let's download PDF here. Okay. There you go. So this is how it looks like, and then you just click here again to really download the document. So you can actually transfer it into your virtual folder. So that is for Science Direct. So apart from that, apart from Science Direct, what else? What online website can we actually use for literature search? We also have ejournals.ph, especially those who are writing in Filipino. And wanted to have research literature which are written in Filipino, you can actually check this particular online resource, this online database, because some of the Philippine journals are actually written in Filipino. And if you want to look for local literatures, published in the Philippines, and uh, include them in your literature review, you can actually visit this ejournals.ph. So let's try to visit ejournals.ph, ejournals.ph. So that is Philippine ejournals.home. Okay. I'm actually signed in already. Okay. Philippine ejournals. Okay. Say for example, you want to look for journals, you can just look for journals and then see some of the Philippine e-journals here. As I mentioned, ang Pantas, that's a uh, Filipino journal written Filipino, and the others. No? So for example, you want to search about wikang Filipino. So for example, naghahanap kayo ng literatura patungkol sa wikang Filipino. No? So sa search natin, may 1,078 articles patungkol sa wikang Filipino. Ayan, tulad niyan. No? I-click natin to. Let's click this one. Ang pagsasa Filipino ng mga panuurin sa daigdig. No? So for this, just download. No? So it can be downloaded. So there's an available PDF, and then your download file will start on in, yeah, if The file does not download automatically, click here. Pero dahil na-download naman siya, ito siya. Hintayin natin siyang ma-download. So, ayan. So, this is actually a repository of Philippine journals which you can use in your literature review. So, let's see the article. Ayan na siya. It was published in Malay in 2013. So, ayan. Usually in related literature Filipino, they have English translation of the abstract for those who would like to cite them in an international journal. For those who are international authors who would like to cite the paper, so they can actually refer to the abstract. Ayan. So, but this is written no, in Filipino. Ayan. Okay? So, yan. At marami pa, no? Marami pa kayong pwedeng i-search dito. Not just articles in Filipino, but there are Philippine articles of, I mean, there are topics written in the context of the Philippines. So, pwede yan sa e-journal, Philippine e-journals. Apart from the Philippine e-journals, we can also go to the SSRN, no? So the Social Science Research Network, and it can be found in papers.ssrn.com. So let's try to see some papers now. You can just type SSRN. Ayan. Ayan. SSRN home. Okay. So ayan, no? So tomorrow's research today. So you can actually search in these particular search engine. So for example, your topic is on ano ba, pwede, self-efficacy, for example. Self-efficacy of science. Yan. So let's see if there are related articles on that. No? Ayan, sabi dito, search term. Ayan, sige. Self-efficacy. Self-efficacy of science. Okay, search term. Ayan. So these are already the related documents. So we found 5 papers for self-efficacy. So let's try to um, click. So is it available? Yes. Download this paper. It was written by Angela Dulias from Central Luzon State University and written in 2010. So ayan. So we can see, the article already here. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, some of the articles or some of the papers now uploaded in SSRN usually are for peer review. So they actually upload them for as a uh, as a preprint, no, prior to the peer review. So you can actually also visit SSRN if you feel like there are articles that you can find in this particular website. No? Apart from that, meron pa ba? Okay, ano pa ba pwede nating puntahan, no? Or bisitahin online resources. So we can actually go to JSTOR.org. So this is actually also a repository of different documents, open access documents. Okay, so just type JSTOR in the Google and it will lead you to the JSTOR.org. And then you can search journals, primary sources, and books in this particular website. Say, for example, you are interested in world Englishes. World Englishes, yeah. Okay, and it will search you. So there are 3,002 search results for that. And if you want to refine your research search, for example, your literature search for only journals, you just click journals only. And then if you want to have from 2016 to 2020, you want to apply that, okay? And then the content you can access. So meaning these are open access or downloadable. So yeah, so ayan siya, available. So development of languages and social media in relation to Spanish temporal trajectories of Iranian immigrants in Belgium. So just download that. I accept, proceed to download. So let's see if it will be downloaded. Yes, so this is already the article that you want to get, and then you can just save it, for example, no, then write the name of the author. Il and vary. What year was this? I forgot to see. Let's say, for example, 2020, and then save it in your virtual folder. So that's how easy for JSTOR. There are a lot of articles that you can also find in this particular website. And apart from JSTOR, you can also, you know, check some other websites and some other digital libraries. But here's a tip to remember. You have to create a strong but easy to remember passwords because there are a lot of websites where you can actually, create an account. You may also consider listing your account passwords in a notepad so that it will not be it will not be difficult for you to remember all of the passwords and usernames for this. But if you have you know one username and then some modification lang of your password, then that's easy for you to remember. In my case, I have a list. I have a notepad where I list the account, username, and the passwords for each of the websites that I registered to. Okay. So apart from that, I mentioned that because ProQuest also requires you to have a subscription. So some schools have a subscription in ProQuest because ProQuest is actually a repository of theses and dissertations and some journal articles. Actually, there are a lot of journal articles, but most of the papers uploaded here in ProQuest are thesis and dissertation, which you can actually cite in your paper. So here I have I have a subscription in ProQuest, so I'm already logged in here. So for example, I want to know more about development of oh, there's an error. Development of instructional material. Or know more about development of instructional material, and it will lead me to 43,000 plus results on this. If I want to have full text, that means thesis and dissertation or just peer-reviewed journal, I can do that. Scholarly uh, journals, audio, dissertation, thesis. For example, I want dissertation and thesis. It will give me a dissertation and thesis. And for example, last 5 years, okay? So it will give me thesis and dissertation for the last 5 years. So there are full text, meaning it's available, okay? Available full text. So for example, if you want to have preview only, that's more of like the title page and the abstract. But if you want to read more, read the full manuscript, the full thesis and dissertation, you can go to the full text PDF. There you go. So here it is. So this is a dissertation dissertation published in 2016, ProQuest dissertation. Okay, so there you go. Okay, it contains 446 pages. Yeah, so it's a dissertation submitted to the graduate school. So you can actually download that. It was written by Medley, so you can write rename the file at Medley, 2016, and just save it. All right, so there you go. So you can actually go back later on in your virtual folder so that you can read the full text of this dissertation. All right, so apart from that, what else? What site meron pa ba tayo? EBSCOhost, yeah. You can actually have EBSCOhost if you are subscribed in this particular site. No? So you can just go to search.ebscohost.com. So let's try to go to that particular site. Go to Google and just type EBSCOhost. Alright. And then it will lead you to the EBSCO information sources. So there are academic libraries, public library schools. So let's, for example, public libraries. Yeah, you can have, for example, magazine archives. Yeah, you can actually search or watch video. And there are a lot of sources. You can go to this particular website. So just visit EBSCOhost. Better if you have subscribed, if you have subscription. so that you can actually download some of the academic articles that you're looking for. We also have Project Gutenberg. Project Gutenberg is actually an open access database repository of open access documents, books, etc. So just go to Project Gutenberg. Okay, search it in the search engine. Then here, free ebooks. Project Gutenberg, free ebooks. Ayan. So for example, you want to search here. You want to search about verb tense. Go. Okay. For example, uh you're studying about verb tense. Yeah. No record found. So let's just say for example Philippines. Let's search about Philippines. Yeah. Okay. It will lead you to different books. For example, the Philippine Islands. Yeah. Yeah. You can actually download them through different formats. Okay. So it's up to you. What type of file would you want? More files, for example. Yeah. There is also zip and etc. Okay. And apart from that, apart from your project Gutenberg, wala na. So I think that's the last online resource that I'll be sharing with you. So another tip to remember is that for you to easily navigate all of these sites, you can actually do bookmark. You can actually bookmark your most frequently used research websites in your computer so that next time you actually want to visit them, it will be very easy for you to navigate and to quickly find these particular sites. Okay. And lastly, for this presentation, I'd like to share with you some of the journal websites that you can go to. I think I'll be having a separate lecture series, lecture presentation for this particular topic on the different journal websites that we can use in different disciplines. I'll be mentioning only, I think, 3 journal websites. So first is the Normal Lights. So there are a lot of good articles wherein you can actually use and cite in your paper from Normal Lights. So you can just go to the Normal Lights, search the Normal Lights, and then it would lead you to the Normal Lights Publication Office. Okay, and then from there, you can see the journal website already. Then you can just go to the archives and then search for you can individually search the issues if you want to read each of the issue. Okay, you can just go to the search bar here. So for example, K-12 curriculum, you can actually search that, and then it will give you let's say K-12 curriculum Philippines. Okay, okay, no term. Sige, anuhin na lang natin science teaching. For example, you're actually looking for research literature in science teaching. Make sure you input the right term here so that it will be easier for you to find relevant literature. So you can see different articles now related to uh, science teaching. So because we actually search for science teaching, and then let's go to the PDF, for example, and then we'll just wait for a while. Okay, and it will lead you to the actual article, and then you can just download the article, download this PDF file, and it will be downloaded. All right, so that's how we do it. Usually in a journal website, we go to the archives or the search bar. Okay, for the search bar, you can also register your account in this particular website. Apart from that, we also have the Asia Pacific Higher Education Research Journal, which is a journal also managed by the Philippine Normal University. You can just search after J, and then it will lead you to this particular website. Again, you could go to the archives or just go to search. For example, higher education. You're searching for related literature related to higher education, and then it will lead you to a number of research articles about about higher education. And lastly, last example of journal website, we have Asia Pacific Social Science Review, or APSSR of the De La Salle University. So you can just type the actual website the URL in the search bar, or say APSSR PLSU. It will lead you to the journal website wherein you can actually see published articles, and this is actually site indexed in Scopus, ACI, and CHED recognized. So you can go to the latest edition. This is a Q1 journal, or you can go to the different editions. Lead to the different editions. Okay, or you can just search. For example, you want to search science. Okay, let's see. Yeah, there are a lot of articles about science. So for example, here, technology infused approach to learning science and examination of students' learning experiences and academic achievement. So let's see this. And then you just download that one and then save it in your virtual folders. So we have here Nueva 2018. Nueva and Canica actually. Okay, so that's it. No, that's how you do it when you actually go to the actual website. And there are a lot of journal websites where you can visit. No? In the next video presentation, the next video discussion, I'll be sharing with you some of the most repeatable journals which you can actually use, or which you can actually consider in looking for research articles. I hope you learned something today, and see you till our next research webinar episode. Happy researching, and thank you very much.